Hello, Pauper fans. This is Mathonical, and you are joining me for the November 19th Pauper Challenge, where I ran my new take on BorosSS Monarch. Basically, I really wanted to play a deck with some Seeker of the Way action going on, and I felt like it was going to fit really well in a BorosSS Monarch strategy. I also wanted to pair that with Searing Blaze, so that is what I did here. I'm going to leave a link in the description below to this deck list, so if you feel like sleeving it up online and giving it a try, let me know how it goes, and if you find any alterations that work pretty well or any ideas as to what could be changed, let me know in the comments below. Let me know over on Reddit, and it's always good to get some discussion going to improve these decks. So we're just going to jump into a bit of the differences I've made as opposed to a stock BorosSS Monarch list. I've already mentioned the Seeker of the Way. This card basically gives us better game against things like Burn, gives us the ability to race better against Stompy. It's just a really good creature that when we get down and have cards like Galvanic Blast, Lightning Bolt, and Searing Blaze, just to remove creatures in the way, get in for some life-linking damage. We always get to pump it up with our own Prophetic Prisms and Alchemist Vials as well, since we're going to be playing them a ton with all of our bounce effects for them. Means we can get in some pretty big hits with Seeker of the Way. Since we're moving all of our opponent's creatures anyway, Searing Blaze seemed like a natural addition to me. If we ever have a Seeker, like just imagine the scenario where we have a Seeker of the Way on the battlefield and we're able to cast this Searing Blaze, dealing 3 damage to a creature to remove a blocker, 3 damage to their face, and attacking with a 3/3 Seeker. Do you really want to block that? Definitely not. And I managed to do 6 damage in a turn, gain 3 life, remove a creature. It sounds beautiful to me, so if it works in practice, we're going to find out during the series. I definitely want to keep in some number of the Palace Sentinels, otherwise you do run out of steam with this style of deck. We're going to be burning creatures and playing a few creatures ourselves. So instead of removing the Palace Sentinels, which a lot of people were considering, and myself included, for the Seeker package, I decided to keep the Palace Sentinels in and remove everything else that I could. So I've taken out the one of Firebolt, I've taken out one of the Journeys, I've taken out the what is it? The Battle Screeches. I've taken out my one of Rally the Peasants, which I really liked with the Battle Screech, and I really trimmed down to fit in the Seeker of the Way and Searing Blaze package. Do you need to run 4 Searing Blaze? Probably not. I've been playing with the idea of maybe one of these Searing Blazes being a Prismatic Strands, another Journey, or a Firebolt. But for this challenge, I really wanted to just run the full 4x4 package. Of course, adding all of this double red casting cost Searing Blazes to the deck, it does put a strain on our mana base. So as you can see, I've reworked the mana base slightly. I've increased the red count, so that way it's a bit more balanced. It means I had to cut down on the amount of Radiant Fountains in the deck, and I brought in an Ash Barrens just for a little bit of mana fixing. I also didn't want to rely so heavily on artifact lands, so I did cut one of those, so we're down to 6 now. 7 was a little bit heavy and made us a little bit more susceptible to losing to just a Gorilla Shaman. Didn't like doing that. So as you can see, feel free to count it out, but we've got plenty of white sources, plenty of red sources. It's really easy to trigger the landfall off of Searing Blaze, since we've got Boros Garrisons to make sure we're hitting lots of land drops, we're drawing a ton of cards to draw more additional lands to activate our Searing Blaze, and in a pinch we can always Glint Hawk back a land or Skyfisher back a land if we needed to trigger it that way. Sideboard plan is the same as I've run in many previous weeks. I'm not sure if the last time I ran this for the Pauper Challenge where I recorded it, if I had the Coalition Honor Guards or the Standard Bearers. The current meta, I definitely feel like the Coalition Honor Guard is the better choice, especially when you're playing a deck like this where you've got lots of early interaction. You can remove the early creatures that are causing problems and then lock down the end game with the Coalition Honor Guard. This does not die to Bolt. It's also a lot harder for a lot of decks to deal with. So I'm definitely on board with the Honor Guards currently, especially if your curve is really early like this one. And yeah. If you've got any questions about how this deck performs, let me know. But if you want a bit more in-depth interaction, play-by-play of some of the other things this deck is doing, feel free to check out my previous BorosSS Monarch videos. The core of the deck is still the same, it's just we're going a bit more on the aggressive, proactive plan with Seeker of the Way and Searing Blaze. So, I hope you enjoy the series, and I'll let you guys get to watching it. See you there.